Hola, Curious Minds crew. Hope you guys are doing well this morning. Happy Saturday. So the question becomes, what does 40 million manufacturing gig workers in China have to do with all of the office knowledge workers here in the States and around the world? We'll find out after this little intro. Okay, so this morning, I subscribe to a number of different newsletters, podcasts. I love Substack. And one of my favorite Substacks that I read occasionally is the one you see on screen here, Pekingnology. And this is just, I love this because obviously, China is a massive country. They've got all kinds of development going on. The US is a massive country. We have all kinds of development going on. We've got stuff going on in Europe. We have stuff going on all over the world. While we have tons and tons of challenges and different viewpoints on how everything should go down, I'm always fascinated to kind of hear or read whatever I can at the source level, if possible. And this Substack, the gentleman who runs it, he is out of Colombia. He will translate these different articles, different speeches, different things like that. And so this morning, I saw this article. And what I wanted to highlight on this article, I'm not going to spend much time on the article itself. I'm going to highlight just a couple of paragraphs, and then I'm going to pivot into what I think, what kind of opened my eyes a little bit on how it might relate to AI reshaping some of, well, we all know it's going to reshape stuff. I'm a heavy user of AI. So in this study, this professor, um, she she has done a few different studies, and the most recent one was on these gig workers in manufacturing. And so there's a couple of regions in China. I think it's the Yangtze River district and the Pearl River district or something. I'm getting it wrong, but what you can see here is they have this estimate of these quote unquote on demand or gig workers in the manufacturing sector, estimating around 40 million people, hence the title of this video. What do 40 million manufacturing gig workers have in common, basically, with AI coming for the office knowledge workers? And what I found fascinating was that it's manufacturing gig workers. When we think of gig workers here, we think about Uber, like Instacart, all that kind of stuff. Gig work for tech projects, website development, all of that. I did not think about gig workers, in the context of manufacturing. And so they've got this massive, massive market in manufacturing that's been developing for forever. I mean, obviously, you could see here at China, they've got 3.3 trillion of the global manufacturing exports, and then the U.S. as of 2022 is 1.1 trillion. So, we all know. I mean, manufacturing powerhouse over there in China. They dwarf everybody by a mile. But what I want to show you is what really kind of triggered me wanting to do this post, just to help us think about it. Okay, so what is driving this? And the thing that I thought was really interesting is she talks about, first, rapid advancements in smart manufacturing technologies have enhanced labor productivity and product yield, but they have also increased substitution of skilled labor with machines. This has reduced the need for formal hires in skilled roles while driving demand for machine operators, leading to both technological substitution and technological complementarity. Now, she defines these, and then what I think is so fascinating here is that Technological substitution refers to how automation improves production efficiency, lowers costs, replaces routine tasks previously performed by medium skilled workers. Medium skilled. And this is where I come to the office worker. Uh, what's so fascinating to me is that we just assume that automation, which is true to an extent, that AI automation in the context of knowledge work. So we're insurance agency insights here. So in the context of an insurance agency, that we're just going to basically automate away all the lowest skilled, lowest source stuff. If we haven't already used a virtual assistant or something like that, or other technology. But the AI impact, and if you don't use AI on a regular basis, you probably are not experiencing firsthand the capabilities, and there's just insane stuff that's happening now. It's as they say, the future is here, it's just unevenly distributed, and that is the case. Very, very few people are deploying AI, and that includes me. Like operationally, I use it personally all the time, but on an operational level, like we're kind of just at the edges, and I think that's the case for a lot of businesses. Anyway, the key thing here that I think is so important to remember is that what this technological substitution, while this is in a manufacturing context, I'm thinking about it of a knowledge work context, thinking about the work of a knowledge worker being a form of manufacturing. We're doing tasks for an output. Meanwhile, low-skilled jobs involving non-routine manual tasks remain harder to automate, increasing demand for low-skilled workers. So China's in the manufacturing piece, they've seen this bifurcation between more demand for low-skilled and more demand for high-skill. Technological complementarity suggests that low-skilled tasks work in tandem with automation technologies, meaning that instead of replacing low-skilled workers, technological advancements actually boost demand for these positions. Now, what is functionally different is I think what is functionally different is we're not dealing with machines that are just 100% repeatable process, right? So we're in insurance, we're obviously in risk management and people business. And so I'm not saying that AI is coming for all of our mid-skilled agency employees, but I do think it's for sure going to have an impact. And so I think this will be the final thing that I'm going to land on here is this polarization effect triggered by technological progress is a widely observed economic phenomenon. The development of automation and other technologies leads to job growth in high-skilled and low-skilled positions, while medium-skilled jobs decline. This phenomenon has been confirmed in several studies. So then they talk about like the technological advancements in the US led to a polarization in skill demand, with employment growth particularly concentrated in the lowest deciles of occupations. And so anyway, what's interesting is now that we have these large language models and we have multiple AI companies, OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, Perplexity, and there's many others, but those are probably the four or five big dogs. Basically, these are probabilistic models, but they're getting better and better as they've getting more and more grounded and more fine-tuned at having less hallucination and more accurate responses. And their capability of processing more and more information is increasing every day, and the speed is increasing every day. And the breadth of specialized knowledge is continuing to increase every day. And so realistically, inside of insurance agencies, our entire industry is text-based. Large language models are becoming more multimodal, meaning audio, video, and text, but our entire corpus of knowledge is text-based. Insurance policies, insurance contracts, claim documents, underwriting rules, pricing, product, everything. It's all language. And so I do think that what we're going to see in the years ahead and is there is going to be a wave where mediocre, middle skilled employees and some of the lower skilled repetitive that can be truly automated with AI, they are going to go away. And in fact, I'll give a little shout out. There's a guy named Jason Cass who's in our industry. He has a really, for insurance agents, he has a really interesting report that he calls AI 2030. And this is for agents. And it's just, they're kind of like talking about a different frame of reference. Now, this is way out. Jason's got stuff way out, thinking way ahead. You know, we can't split agents. You can't split a person in half. So let's say 9 out of 10 agencies are not even close to in the frame of reference that what this kind of thought process on AI 2030 with the agency stuff is thinking about. But I like that he's put that out there, and I think it's just important that we all consider what we need to be doing in our agencies, and just as we move forward in the future, we have to stay curious, my friends. Stay curious and be constantly have a growth mindset, adaptive mindset, a curious mindset, a no fear mindset. We need to embrace the tools, learn them, use them, adapt to them, and then adjust as we need to. Change is inevitable, right? That's just the way it is. So anyway, there's a little long video today, but I just thought that was such an interesting thought process to see what was going on in China with their gig manufacturing workers. Something like 200 million people are estimated to be gig workers in China. It's insane. And AI is ramping up at some exponential pace right now in our world entirely. So you don't have to jump on the bandwagon of AI. Life's not going to, pass you all by, but you really, really should be looking at using these tools because it is truly the fourth wave, of massive technologies. Really the biggest thing that's ever happened since the internet. So, all right, guys, that's it. Enough rambling. Hope you have a great rest of the day, and hopefully this brought you some insight. Yeah, and if you're curious, check out Pekingnology. I don't endorse everything on there, but it's always interesting to read different sources of information just to try to keep the mind expanded. Again, we're trying to stay curious here, all right? Peace.